The sound it makes when he hits them is ungodly.
But I mean, Ciryl Gane, who's 6'5", 247 pounds, moves like a 170-pounder. It's crazy.
Joe Rogan recently weighed in on the possibility of Alex Pereira facing Ciryl Gane, and the more this fight gets discussed throughout the MMA world, the more it starts to feel like one of the most fascinating matchups the UFC could possibly make. At first glance, a lot of fans immediately focus on Pereira's knockout power and assume that's where the story begins and ends. But the deeper you look into the stylistic dynamics of this fight, the more it becomes clear that Ciryl Gane may present a very specific set of challenges that Pereira hasn't consistently faced throughout his UFC career, which is exactly why opinions remain divided whenever this matchup is brought up. After all, Pereira has spent the last few years building a reputation as one of the most dangerous strikers in combat sports, not simply because of his power, but his pressure, controls distance, and slowly forces opponents into making mistakes. There is a patience to Pereira's game that often gets overlooked because the knockouts tend to dominate the headlines, yet many of those finishes happen because opponents gradually find themselves trapped in positions they never wanted to be in. Before they realize what's happening, Pereira has taken control of the range, established his rhythm, and created the opening he's been looking for all along. The reason Ciryl Gane makes this conversation so interesting is because he rarely allows opponents to establish that type of control, which is exactly why so many people believe he may present a completely different challenge than anyone Pereira has faced recently. Unlike many heavyweights who are willing to stand in front of each other and exchange power shots, Gane has built his success around movement, fluidity, and an ability to make opponents constantly reset. There have been moments throughout his career where he has looked less like a traditional heavyweight and more like a much smaller fighter operating with speed and footwork that simply shouldn't exist at that size, which is why so many analysts continue describing him as one of the most unique stylistic puzzles in the entire division.
I think that fight's gonna be a sick fucking fight, dude. Head of the way, saw him shadow box him. His punches look heavy, but I don't think Gane's gonna be there to be hit. Gane's not gonna sit there and be hit. He's gonna stick and move, and it's going to be a tricky fight.
Pereira, Ciryl Gane, how do you see that match? Does size really matter in heavyweight?
Yes, size matter, but I think Pereira has a decent size for heavyweight. This is a big guy. The fight there might be the same weight.
So what would you say for a guy like Ciryl Gane going up against a hard hitter like Alex Pereira?
This is a good matchup for him. Heavy hand, but stationary, doesn't move as much.
Ciryl Gane's movement is different. It's problematic.
It's very problematic for him trying to get on his nerve. Ciryl is very agile and Pereira is very stationary. And he doesn't officially have a wrestling that can respond. But again, he might be working on something that we haven't seen yet. But Cyryl's style is different and give him an edge on this case.
That's also why comments from Tom Aspinall have generated so much discussion whenever this fight gets mentioned, because Aspinall himself has suggested that Gane could be a surprisingly difficult opponent for Pereira due to the way he moves.
Talk to me about Ciryl Gane, Alex Pereira.
First of all, Alex Pereira is an absolute generational talent. If he wins this fight, even though it's an interim title, it'll be the first person ever to win 3 different weights, which is unbelievable. He carries a lot of power at light, heavy and middle, but he's also fighting a lot smaller guys. A big factor of why he's knocking these guys out is because he's a lot bigger than him. Ciryl Gane is a massive heavyweight who moves a lot. So stylistically, I think it's a good matchup for Gane.
Which way are you going?
I would say Gane by points. I want revenge, of course.
I spoke to Rico, the kickboxing champion, getting ready to take on, how do you say, is it Usyk?
Alexander Usyk. Alexander, yeah.
And as a striking expert, and Rico said 9 out of 10 times Ciryl would beat Pereira if it was straight up kickboxing rules. He said 9 out of 10 times Ciryl would beat him. He's just too big of a man.
I definitely think it's stylistic, but him fighting Gane is perfect. Like, it's going to be a stand-up battle. He's got the size and the height for it, so it's like this. If anyone's like, if there's a time to do it, and like if we were trying to put chips in play, that would be the fight to make. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's going to be a striking fight for 5 rounds. And Pereira is probably the more technical striker, you know, more comfortable striker, especially when it comes to MMA. Yeah, triple champ, why not?
While Pereira has proven time and time again that he can solve elite strikers, fighters who constantly glide in and out of range, attack from unusual angles, and refuse to remain stationary for extended periods naturally create a very different challenge than the opponents Pereira typically excels against. It's not necessarily that Gane is the better striker, but rather that his style may force Pereira into fighting a completely different type of fight than the one he prefers. That possibility becomes even more intriguing when you consider Gane's durability throughout his career. One of the assumptions many fans make whenever Pereira enters a matchup is that his opponent will eventually crumble under the pressure of his power.
He can grapple a little bit, but that's not what he wants to do. He wants to knock his head into the bleachers. I was like, this fucking guy's terrifying. He was just different. He was just different. Like the power was different. The style was different. It's a weird style. Hands down, weird movement, like but super technical, man. Like confusing. Like you see him, you say, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He just hits hard. Negative, incorrect, completely unique style, very technical and very well thought out. He's got solutions to everything. He was showing me in DC how he checks leg kicks, and we had a conversation about it. Can we talk about this? Can we tell people this?
What do you say?
No, me and DC did. Like, I don't know. We decided. I don't think we should tell people.
Yeah.
He's got a special way that he checks leg kicks.
Yep.
Was different than everybody else's. He's got a whole strategy behind it. We were like, oh shit. So he was showing us. So we're at the mothership. Me and DC and Alex Pereira. And Alex Pereira's kicking our legs, and he's showing us how to check. He's showing us how he checks and what he does to follow up check. He's got a system. Of it is his hands are as big as a fucking watermelon.
Really?
His hands are giant, man. He's got this weird frame. Dudes with big hands have crazy power. Like Tony Ferguson has big ass hands. And if you look at Pereira, he's like this long arms, these big giant fucking hammers at the end of his wrists. He's different, man.
I could see Gane eye poking Pereira and Pereira doing, you know, the Jamal Hill thing where he calls off the ref and then sleep Ciryl Gane on the White House card.
Alex Pereira's opportunity to become a 3-time world champ against Ciryl Gane.
Ciryl Gane, people are talking about this. The infinite title shot glitch. He's back again.
I don't know. So, hey, Ciryl Gane looked good in that fight against Tom. Cyryl's going to be hard to knock out in the first round because he does stick and move. He's not going to sit there and trade with Pereira. He's going to jab. He's going to move. He bounces around. Like you said, a light guy. It's going to be interesting.
Yet Gane has already shared the cage with some of the hardest hitters the heavyweight division has ever produced and has repeatedly shown an ability to absorb punishment while continuing to execute his game plan. Francis Ngannou landed on him. Other dangerous heavyweights landed on him. Through all of that, Gane consistently demonstrated a level of composure that could become incredibly important if this fight turns into a battle of patience rather than an immediate firefight.
It's going to be an interesting fight, though. I think Alex Pereira is very tough. He's big enough. He's a heavyweight. But in this scenario, the position shifted a little bit because Ciryl Gane here come more with a strategy of a lighter person because he moves a lot. He's fast and this. And I think Alex Pereira will be like more stiff, stable, and strong, solid. Ciryl will be more fast, moving around. As is his technique, he's good at that, and then it's gonna be very difficult to Alex Pereira to even get close to the distance to figure out what he can do to close that distance, which Ciryl will be managing very good to keep the distance, pick apart, get him frustrated. He's good at that, so I think he's a very good matchup for Ciryl.
It's gonna be stand-up war. Ain't nobody doing a shot.
Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane.
Alex Pereira is a big boy. I just saw him in Seattle. I mean, I saw him jump on the scale, 242. Shama. Obviously, Ciryl Gane has great movement. You saw what he did to Tom Aspinall. He was popping in with the jab. You know, Alex Pereira does have that calf kick that he loves to throw every single time to stop everybody's movement. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how Ciryl Gane does with the pressure that Alex Pereira brings. It's going to be stand-up war. Ain't nobody doing a shot.
Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane. Alex Pereira's power and technique and speed will carry up to heavyweight, but he's fighting a heavyweight who is known for his speed, his movement. Would you favor Alex Pereira in this fight?
Gane's footwork is so smooth. He's light, a true natural 250-pound dude, whereas Pereira is blown up to hit 250. And when it comes to like your power and how that translates to your ability to knock someone out, I don't think that's probably as significant as some people think it is. Taking a leg kick against Ciryl Gane is probably going to hurt a lot more than a leg kick from Yuri because the mass of their leg is just bigger. Because he's fighting somebody who's actually like a good athlete and has very good stand-up, I would probably favor Gane.
He's never fought somebody who kicks his legs. If Gane gets his leg kicked out, we might see a more stationary Ciryl Gane.
At the same time, counting on durability against someone like Pereira has never been a particularly comfortable strategy. Throughout his combat sports career, countless opponents have entered fights believing they could avoid the danger, survive the power, or simply outpoint him over time, only to discover that all it takes is one brief lapse in concentration for everything to change. That's what makes Pereira such a terrifying fighter to prepare for, because he doesn't need to dominate every second of a fight in order to win it. He only needs one opening, and history has shown that he possesses a rare ability to capitalize on those openings with devastating efficiency. The deeper this matchup is analyzed, the more it starts to feel like a clash between two completely different philosophies of striking. On one side sits a fighter who thrives on creating moments of destruction through pressure and precision, while on the other stands a fighter whose entire game revolves around movement, adaptability, and refusing to give opponents the exchanges they want. That's why the debate surrounding this fight has become so intense, because supporters of Pereira see a knockout waiting to happen, while supporters of Gane see a technical puzzle that could frustrate Pereira for long stretches of the fight. What raises the stakes even further is the potential impact this matchup could have on the future of the heavyweight division itself.
Interim title, are you okay with that?
Well, what else are they going to do? Who else is knocking around in the heavyweight division? What other matchup are they going to do? It's difficult to say because Pereira's never fought heavyweight before, so you can definitely win the fight. Could go either way.
Do you have a preference?
Who wins?
Yeah.
I'd like to fight both of them. Both would be fantastic.
Initially, I would have said, I don't want them to waste the Tom Aspinall fight, but I feel like now it will only raise whatever fight you're coming back to.
You better get that money ready.
What do you make of Alex Pereira talking about becoming a 3 divisions, trying to take that belt from you? Would you entertain that?
But listen to this, right? We're in New York. We obviously fought on the same card, me and him. Never met him before, never. Quite frosty when I met him. And I don't know him personally. I didn't know if he was just like that. We did the press conference. We sat next to each other. He was literally, I was here, he was there. Got off the press conference, and my dad said, "Oh, like, how was it?" I said, "Do you know Alex Pereira?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "He thinks he can beat me, you know." And my dad was like, "What do you mean?" I don't know, I can just tell. Mate, he wasn't posturing, he wasn't like trying to intimidate me or nothing. I just felt like he had in his mind, maybe I'm just making it up, I have no idea, but I've never done it with anyone before. And I'm not like that insecure guy being like, he's trying to fight me. I'm not like that at all. When I heard that he wants to move up to heavyweight, I wasn't surprised. I felt like he was like sizing me up a little bit.
This isn't simply a showcase fight designed to generate headlines for the White House card. Depending on how the division develops over the coming months, the winner could place themselves in an incredibly strong position regarding future championship opportunities, creating a situation where every minute of this fight carries massive consequences far beyond the event itself. For Pereira, a victory would strengthen an already remarkable legacy and further establish him as one of the most accomplished combat sports athletes of his generation, while a win for Gane would immediately remind everyone why so many people viewed him as a future heavyweight champion long before he ever challenged for gold. What's particularly fascinating is imagining how both camps are likely approaching preparation for a fight like this. Pereira and his coaches undoubtedly understand that chasing Gane recklessly would play directly into the Frenchman's strengths, which could result in a much more patient and calculated approach than many fans expect. Rather than hunting an early finish, it wouldn't be surprising to see Pereira spend significant portions of the fight cutting off movement, forcing Gane toward the fence and gradually narrowing the space available to him until opportunities begin presenting themselves naturally. On the other side, Gane's preparation almost certainly revolves around maintaining that movement for as long as possible, while avoiding the temptation to engage in unnecessary exchanges. The challenge for him won't simply be surviving Pereira's power, the challenge will be maintaining focus for every second of every round, because against a fighter like Pereira, the danger never truly disappears. Even if Gane is winning minutes, controlling distance, and executing the perfect strategy, one small mistake could instantly erase everything that came before it. That's ultimately why Joe Rogan's breakdown has generated so much interest throughout the MMA community.
But I mean, Ciryl Gane, who's 6'5", 247 pounds, moves like a 170-pounder. It's crazy. He's bouncing like Wonder Boy, like bouncing like this the entire fight, bouncing, throwing feints, like completely changed the standard of heavyweight striking. And I'm not exaggerating. I watched it 3 times. I watched it today. In fact, I watched it in the gym today while I was working out.
So better than like in Gane in terms of movement, in terms of he's like the best moving heavyweight.
There's no question. He is the best moving heavyweight I've ever seen. No question. The best moving. Did you hear what Mark Goddard said to me in the fight after he fought Khalil Roundtree? Mark Goddard came up to me and goes, "Mate, the sound it makes when he hits them is ungodly." He goes, "I've been doing this for 20 years. He goes, the sound he makes is just different. It's ungodly."
Beneath all the hype surrounding the White House card sits a fight that feels genuinely difficult to predict, largely because both fighters possess attributes capable of creating serious problems for the other. Pereira has the power to end the fight at any moment,